This is Morning Edition on 91.9 FM WUOT Knoxville. I'm Matt Schaefer-Powell. Anyone surfing the net these days can find eye-popping sites selling everything from sex and drugs to rock and roll. Because of this, there are mounting fears over what can and should be available on the Internet. But where do you draw the line on allegedly offensive postings? And who has the right and responsibility to make those decisions? WUOT's Ann Lloyd tries to find out. And a word of warning, this story does contain language that some may find offensive.
With a name like Christopher Scum, it doesn't take long to figure out he's no choir boy. He's a tall, solidly built man with limp black hair, a chipped front tooth, and a large, jagged scar running from his nose through the left side of his upper lip. He's the hulking and rumpled frontman for the Knoxville-based band Dirty Works, a self-titled white trash psycho rock band. Like many bands, Dirty Works depends on its MySpace webpage to keep fans informed of gigs and recordings. For several months, the first image visitors saw on the band's webpage was their cyberspace identification symbol, known as an avatar. It was the Confederate flag, and it got them in trouble. Scum says without any warning, MySpace removed their page.
I was never given an explanation. I'd been on there a year and a half maybe. The Confederate flag itself had been up maybe 6 months. One day I came home from touring and it's gone and our whole page is gone.
Scum says he was never able to speak with anyone from MySpace directly, but talked to other people who used the Confederate flag in their online sites.
I asked around and found out that they'd cleared out a lot of rebel flag pages. Well, just as an experiment, I tried to upload one again, and it said that I was uploading vile and threatening content.
Scum says the band wants its audience to react to the music, but isn't out to incite riots or fear. He calls the MySpace server rules hypocritical and says losing their page was very damaging.
Without trying to sound too drastic, it was kind of like devastation because we had shows booked all over the South with different clubs. I lost contact with all these people.
According to MySpace's own terms and agreement contract, posted profiles must not include any, quote, photographs containing nudity or obscene, lewd, excessively violent, harassing, sexually explicit, or otherwise objectionable subject matter, unquote. WUOT made several attempts to contact MySpace about its content policies. They never responded. In a quick tour of MySpace pages led by Scum, he lands on scores of sexual come-ons, disturbing graphic photos of dead bodies, and nudity.
Here we see somebody's butt, and it says, "Scum bitch, eat this, 666, and a swastika." I'd be less offended by the flag.
Scum denies that the rebel flag is a dangerous or racist symbol. Instead, he claims it represents defiance to authority and the right to raise hell. He also points out that Dirty Works drummer, B. Riot, is black. Yet Avon Rollins, director of the Beck Cultural Center of Knoxville, says the band is naive.
A lot of the young people who are not cognizant of the history and what the flag represents, find it a neutral question. But to many, many African Americans, it still represents a flag of oppression, degradation, and hardship and murder.
Regardless of whether the flag is offensive, there's plenty of free speech online.
Nobody's in charge, and by the same token, everybody's in charge.
That's UT law professor and internationally known blogger Glenn Reynolds. He says the rules for what's acceptable over the Internet are constantly changing, and depending on which side of the fence you're standing on, it can be liberating or restricting. Reynolds sympathizes with the band, but says Internet users have so many different ways to reach an audience, it's hard to claim they've suffered any real damage. That's because artists have more choices and greater flexibility than when they relied strictly on record labels to promote them.
If a record company kicked you off their label, you were in big trouble. If MySpace kicks you off, you lose something. You lose all those connections you get through MySpace. But you can be back in business up on the web for listeners who can find you via Google and other tools the same day.
And for the most part, Dirty Works fans were quickly able to locate the band's new site. Chris Scum said the band has recovered from losing its original MySpace page, but he remains confused over how anyone could claim it was dangerous or subversive. Dirty Works does have a new opening page on MySpace. The flag is gone. It's been replaced by hundreds of hypodermic syringes with a handgun superimposed over the needles. The new page appears to be acceptable to MySpace. It's still there since it appeared more than 2 months ago. For WUOT, I'm Ann Lloyd.